Welcome to another episode of the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast. I'm John Chen. I'm your host. And if you're watching here live on social media, make sure and subscribe, share, like, and comment. I'm almost to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Be the 1,000th. Something good may happen. If you want to watch all the episodes, go to engagingvirtualmeetings.online. Subscribe on any one of your 15 beautiful and favorite podcast platforms. Apple Podcasts, surpassing Spotify again, at least for my podcast end. Get your camera out, turn on the camera, and scan this QR code. You can get a free ticket if you want to learn how to be more engaging in the world. If you are a speaker, a manager, an event planner, we have the Engaging Retreat. This is my 8th year doing this, 3rd year hybrid. Every October, this year is October 20th through 22nd, live here in Seattle, Washington, and anywhere online if you have a link to it. And speaking of to it, let's get to it. Speaking of which, our next guest, he's a transformational expert. His clients refer to him as the results architect. He won the National AAU Slam Dunk Contest in 1990, and after a successful Division I sports career and nearly 3 decades of experience as an executive, he's learned that clarity is the ultimate superpower. Let's welcome Sande Golgert. What's up, Sande?
Hey, John. Thank you. What an amazing introduction.
Yeah, well, thank you. Now let's finish the introduction. I actually think you have the slam dunk queued up.
I do. Yeah, let me share it with you.
You are the airwaves are clear for you.
Okay, you ready?
I see it.
No sound or sound?
Sound.
Okay. And
That smile was biggest after he jammed home the winner.
You hear a lot about some of the other players and from.
That's the dunk, right? It's like the high-low and then over the head.
yeah, touch the inside of your heel and then dunk it backwards over your head.
Oh, the inside of your heel. Okay, cool. And what was it? Was it like describe the moment when they said your name that you're the winner? What do you remember?
Well, what I remember more than being announced the winner, because I knew if I made that dunk, I won, like just by the reaction of the crowd.
Oh.
But you can tell by the outfit I was wearing, I wasn't really there to participate. I got pulled out of the crowd. I was wearing, Bermuda shorts and a t-shirt. And they're like, come on, we know you can dunk. And I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then I pulled a kid out of the audience. I jumped over him. He threw me an alley-oop, and we kind of got off and running and some momentum. And then before you knew it, this kid from Denver, Colorado was holding the National Slam Dunk Championship trophy.
When you win stuff like that, right? Nobody can ever take that away from you. That year, that day, that moment, right? It was you.
That's right. Absolutely.
Oh, too great. Well, Sande, a few of my friends don't know you. Why don't you take this time to introduce to my friends who you are and what you do in the world?
Yeah. So my name is Sande Golgert. And to summarize, I introduce people to a life that they never thought was possible. And by that, I mean the foundation of my work is really based on Bronnie Ware's discovery as she was asking people on their deathbed, what's your biggest regret in life? And an overwhelming majority of humans say the same thing. And it is that I didn't have the courage to lead my own life. Rather, I lived under the expectations or what I thought the expectations were of others for how I was supposed to live. So I lead and guide people through 3 different phases where they can address these 3 primary energies that people hold on to. And it's what keeps us from having the most amazing life. And that is a primary energy of holding, where people hold on to the past. That means they're not then okay with the way things are. So they have some dis-ease with the present or the now. And that keeps them from playfully creating a future that they really want. So they stay stuck holding on to the past, not okay or in resistance to the way things are, and then fearful of a future that they don't even want. And it's such a suffocating way for people to go through life, but we all gravitate naturally to those three energies. So I help them move from a place of freedom, like free your mind from the past, become radically accepting of the way things are, so that you can playfully create the future you really want and enjoy every ounce of this life, because it's not all going to be roses and unicorns, but you can take every day joyfully and just understand it's part of life. And people step into like this amazing world of possibility.
Do you have a story? You don't have to use any names, but I'm just story of somebody who was like this at the beginning of your program and sometime after your program, right, achieved something. Here, I'll give you actually one of my favorite examples was I had a person, she was half deaf and overweight, and I had a rock climbing class that I created, and she was found a way to climb to the top. Actually, it's where I had to coach her while in a harness at 20 feet off the ground, which is a unique way to have your career. 2 years later, she called me and she said that she got a call that from a headhunter. She did property management, and they said, we heard about you. We want to bring you in. So they interviewed her, and because she went through my experience, when they asked her salary, she said 3 times whatever number she could imagine, just imagining that they would say no, and they said yes.
Oh my gosh.
And the one thing that she realized?
What's
The number wasn't high enough, Sandy.
Yeah.
But she took the job because she got a place, and she called me to tell me, all right, that she got this amazing new job at 3 times the salary that she couldn't dream of because she went through one of my experiences. I'm just curious if you got a story like that.
Amazing. Like I say to all my clients and anyone I'm ever talking to on this subject, like our lives are a reflection of what we're available for. So you helped her become available to something greater, and it showed up. And she said yes, and she allowed it to happen. So I have a number of examples, but one just recently, a guy reached out where he was going through a divorce. His wife had kind of unexpectedly let him know about some things that were going on. They have 2 young kids, and he was just kind of devastated. And what's often happens in that with all of us is we're living the reality of a story that's going on in our head.
Mm-hmm.
And he called me just convinced that he was not, his self-worth was devastated. He's like, I tried so hard to love that woman every way in which I thought she deserved. And he just had this long list of how hard he's trying to make everybody happy. And here's the ultimate rejection, that she was going to leave him and left him. And he's like, man, I just really need to find myself. And I brought him through my master class as we prepared to hike an event called 29029 Everesting, where you get 36 hours to climb the equivalent of Mount Everest.
Right.
So, we set out with the intention that we weren't just going to climb, that we weren't just going to finish in time and ascend the equivalent of Everest, but we were going to do it taking every step joyfully and really have fun with it. And amazingly enough, he learned through all the different practices over 6 months, physical training, energy training, and mindful training. He was saying, I just kept waiting to run into this moment where I hit the wall so I could put all this stuff into practice. And he said, what shocked me the most is I never hit the wall. I just smiled the whole time. And it showed me that, like, yeah, you can navigate when you're not judging yourself. When you're not judging life circumstances, the wall never shows up because it just is what it is. And he finished in plenty of time, tons of energy, and completely rediscovered himself. And now he's starting up his own contracting practice down in Portland and just doing phenomenally well with tons of confidence and agency.
I find that experience too, Sandy. I mean, that's the original part of my company. It was called Geoteaming. It was really around technology adventure to create human change. And that I actually created in 2000 and 2001. It was a high-end program. Only 23 people a year could go through it. And it was a 9-month program, and 6 months into it, we all attempted to summit Mount Rainier. So there's a physical aspect to it, there's a mental aspect to it, and there's somewhat of a spiritual aspect to it. And what was amazing around it, Sandy, is that people changed. All right, people really changed. And it's amazing when you put those 3 together and how often it feels like most people in society are forgetting these three things, right? Getting out in nature, or challenging yourself, or working on yourself, right? Everyone wants to take a pill or fix it,
Yeah.
as opposed to you got to do the work, right? The work is hard, but the work is on yourself, but it's the only work I think that'll make a difference. I don't know. Is that what you've experienced, or what do you see as
Oh,
insights?
1000%. I mean, the thing is that we are wired to not do that, right? Our brains are looking for the easiest path through life.
Comfort,
It does
yeah, yeah.
not want you to feel pain, and it's trying to protect you and keep you alive. So we're wired to not do hard things, right? Preserve energy, conserve, and stay alive. So we have to sort of trick the system to stay like ahead, or to keep our bodies and our minds, moving forward, and our souls growing. And I think that's why you mentioned it is a soulful spiritual experience as well, because the soul wants to grow. The ego wants to convince you that everything's okay. You don't have to do anything. You're perfect, you know, by not doing anything. But I will say, when you get out in nature and you couple that with doing something challenging, like we did rim to rim to rim in the Grand Canyon.
Mm.
Um, and I went into the canyon one person, and I came out after multiple identity deaths, a completely changed person. And it was the full experience. This will sound maybe odd to somebody who hasn't been there, but anyone who's been in the Grand Canyon, it literally feels like you're in the cradle of Mother Earth's arms. And she's like holding you down there and just saying, whatever
Wow.
you want to leave down here, go ahead and leave it. I got you. And you can shed any worry, any doubts, any shame, and then come out a completely different person. And that was the toughest physical challenge I've ever done in my life, was getting back out of the canyon after crossing and crossing back at midnight. It
Oh,
was it
wow.
was it was the hardest thing I've ever done, but the most rewarding, challenge I've ever faced.
Well, I want to add this part, right? Because something I got from Tony Robbins was the six human needs, and it says, as humans we have these cross needs, but the funny part is we need them at the same time. One is for certainty, right, and the other is for variety, right, or uncertainty. And you said, we got to trick the system, but what about these other two parts, which is like, either life presents you a challenge like a divorce, all right, or an injury or medical or something, or life calls you. When
Yeah.
like people get this innate desire to do something. That's what it kind of looked like for me, which is I left a fine corporate job at Microsoft to pursue something else, and I really got called at that point. And so, as opposed to trick the system, I mean, do you sometimes feel though that humans are also built to break this pattern of safety and security?
Oh, I think there's no question. I mean, I personally believe we come here to transcend limitations, and
Yeah.
our souls sign up for something here, a journey, an experience to transcend, where circumstances will show you, like where you're stuck or where you're not free and not okay with something. And it's our job to look at that, not become the victim of the circumstance, but see how it's working for you so that you can transcend, become more okay with yourself, all parts of yourself, which make you completely okay with the way everything is and the way everyone else is. But there's a great book called The Great Work of Your Life, I believe. And it documents this pulling that you were talking about of people all throughout history, like Gandhi and others, that really documents how they were pulled into something where they weren't really all that good at something they were doing. Gandhi was trying to be an attorney, and he just was terrible at it. He was almost like a family disgrace. And then he found one of the gifts that he had was for mediating and bringing peace. And he was pulled into that work. And then we all know, what he did after that. But there's some amazing stories in there if people ever want to understand what it's like to be pulled. And I can say my experience, similar to yours, I spent 30 years in the corporate world until I found out that like it just wasn't me, but I was still trying to be successful in an old chapter that had already closed. And my soul was pulling me into a direction of, you were brought here to help other people, and you were to help them transcend, which means you first have to do it
Yeah.
and then come back and share everything that you've learned so that you can help other people find freedom, inner peace, and then playfully create the life that they want.
What did
And
you do for your corporate experience? Who'd you work for, if you can share? I worked
yeah,
at
for
Microsoft.
16 years, I worked for a company called Regis as an
Yeah.
executive vice president for the shared office space company. And I
Wow.
managed, about 250 locations, little more than 1,000 people. And it was at a time, when that industry was really starting to boom and break free. And then WeWork showed up, and it was a really cool time.
Yes.
But yeah, I was there for 16 years, and I literally felt like my soul was saying, "Your business mind is atrophying." I could do the job like on autopilot,
Yeah.
and it was like my call to grow. And I went out, and then I went to a couple startups, and then I went to an old manufacturing company that claimed, they really wanted to grow, but it showed me like all the ways in which people get stuck, and it's really in your subconscious and in your nervous system where people
Yeah.
get stuck. And I got to see that firsthand
Yes.
with these CEOs who were just limited by their nervous system and um their subconscious.
What do you think Regis taught you or gave you in the 16 years of experience?
Well, it was an amazing mirror. Like it showed me a side of leadership that I wasn't very comfortable with, which was the power of fear and how much you could scare people into
Okay.
doing their job. And the CEO would even say, he's like, there is no greater motivator than fear. Tell them they're going to lose their job if they don't do X, Y, and Z. But my soul was like, nah, this is not right. Like, people deserve like an inspiring leader. And so I kind of got to walk the line of like, I'm not going to lead that way. And if that is frowned upon, then so be it. But I'm going to let my results speak. And I found and discovered that you can coexist and you can lead how you want to lead.
Yeah.
That's the ultimately like a true leader. But you are responsible for the results. So I got to run. I had the autonomy to run my unit my way, and I learned that through that you could promote more people. You could make your life significantly easier by finding and tapping into people's greatest strengths rather than telling them how they're not good at something, and really build an amazing culture that could thrive even when you're inside a company that sort of breeds that kind of fear or what people might label as a toxic culture. I think that's not an accurate word. But then it also taught me that just in watching the CEO, that same example of fear is you should never fear anything. I mean, this guy went from being a hot dog stand entrepreneur to running the world's largest office network to going
Wow.
into bankruptcy and to never blinking an eye and coming back out and becoming a billionaire. And he's like, why would I even sweat going into bankruptcy? I'm just going to come out and make $1 billion. Like, that's the way he thought. And
Mm.
he's like, so I'm never afraid to make a bold move because I know how the movie ends. He was so convinced he knew how the movie was going to end.
Wow. Have you ever studied appreciative inquiry?
I haven't. No, I'm not familiar.
Oh my gosh, because you got to, right? Because this is all on the
Okay.
positive psychology side. Appreciative inquiry, Cooper Ryder. I know I studied it. Here's a great example, right? Because here's a good here's a great example from the training. They took two sets of kids, and they're bowling, right? They're bowling on teams. So they all have 100, the average of 100, points a game,
Okay.
and they video them all. In the first group, they video them, they cut the video, and they show them everything they're doing wrong, and then they tell them how to do it right. And they improve 10%. So their average moves to 110. Okay. The second group, they only cut the video for everything they do right, even if it's only one frame a game. And then they show them everything they do right. And that team's average doubles to 200, Sandy.
No way.
And the other research they said, it says that something they call disproportionate appreciation is that you need a ratio of 2-to-1 positive messages for every negative message, right? If I call you a jerk, right, I have to say you're nice and you're pretty, as two things. And they actually did it. They did studies, but you need at least 2-to-1 to be a positive environment. 1-to-1 is not enough. And they actually did tracking of all the emails in a lawyer firm that was considered toxic. It was 1 to 50. One positive message for every 50 negative comments. And that's why that place was toxic and why they made money, but nobody liked working there. The churn rate was like 50-60% a year or more. And, all sorts of bad things happen there. And so I'm a firm believer in this. You got to create an environment, right, where people can succeed. Even in my latest, nonprofit leadership, I just served my term as I'm now past president of National Speakers Association after being president for 2 years, and I think it was really important that I allowed to find people to delegate, to allow them to be leaders, and we spent a lot of time looking about how to be positive, right, and things that accidentally turned out to be negative, we got rid of. But we had to figure out what those were. And the place grew. It doubled in size, 80 to 160 in 2 years. Fastest growing chapter in the country. So something to look at, appreciative inquiry.
Congratulations. Yeah, I'm going to look into it. But I will mention this just for people who are listening who they've probably heard that 1,000 times, right? 2 positive to 1 negative. But I think when you understand why that is, it'll really click. Because for many people, like my old CEO, he would just say that's rubbish. Like, threaten them to fire them and just watch.
Yeah.
But that doesn't work very well over time. So he was right in the moment. You tell somebody, but over time you're going to get disproportionately bad and unengaged. And the reason that is our brains again are wired for what's wrong. So we look at and scan for what's wrong, even in the most ideal environment. Our brains will find something wrong with it eventually.
Yeah.
So when you say that, the brain's like, oh, yeah, what's wrong with us? We're coming from a place of thinking we're not enough just the way we are, because we had to learn in our subconscious when we were very, very little that we had to do something. We had to perform a certain way. We couldn't be our natural self to feel accepted and loved. So when we hear those things, it's like a major threat to our identity.
Yeah.
And that's why over time, that's why we actually hear the negative more loudly and we believe it, and it sticks with us because we're coming from a place of feeling subconsciously not enough. And if you don't have somebody who's already been through that, they've created awareness through it and transcended it, which is like 1%. 99% of all people are walking around in that prison of I'm not enough, or the shadow side, which is I am bad. And now you're just reinforcing it. So that's why it's so powerful. And it takes more, I would almost say like 3 to 7 to 1 before people actually start believing that, oh yeah, I really am good.
Well, that's different too, I think, because that's belief and identity. If you believe that about yourself, that's different than a statement, right? A statement for me is saying, I think something about you, Sandy, but it's different when you think that about you.
Right.
Right? What you say about yourself is way important than what I tell you. And, those are all those things. And we end up teaching a lot of leaders about presuppositions, right? Things like the question is, why am I so fat? Right? The presupposition is fat, right? And you get into that, and I don't think people are conscious enough most of the time that their questions have all these hidden presuppositions that are beliefs or things about themselves. I don't know if you see this in the pattern of the people you're working with.
Totally. And I would add to that judgment.
Yeah.
There's the judgment. Like most people are trying to fix something.
Yeah.
And they're really just working on becoming the best version of their limited self. Rather than realizing there's nothing to judge yourself on. You're acting exactly in accordance with the way you think about yourself.
Yes.
Right? So once you get rid of the judgment and you realize like, man, I am a limitless, boundless being here to have this amazing experience. There is nothing wrong with me. everything I'm doing is just a part of my own patterns. Now, if I can recognize that and start to reduce the amount of judgment, I'll actually transcend those things and start really taking control over the life I really want instead of calling it fate.
So talk to me about like I think one of the steps, at least for me, I believe, is that you gotta if somebody has an identity, like I'm bad at math, all right? Or
Yeah.
recently I had a friend and she says, I have no rhythm, I'm a horrible dancer. How do you, Sandy, go about helping to change somebody's belief about this?
Yeah, this is really where a lot of the fun or the magic trick, as I call it, comes
Okay.
out. Because it's so fun to do this. But if somebody says that, like um, I'm whatever, and I'll give you a fun example because some of
Okay.
them are not so fun. But I was talking to this lady, and she said, "I'm clumsy,"
Right.
and I said, "Well, that's where do inherently I might have a different belief, but I'm curious, where did you learn that?" And she said, I can remember it. We were at a park at our family picnic, and my uncle said, "Oh, there she goes. Look at how clumsy she is." And I fell. And I've just known that I'm clumsy ever since. And I said, wow. Um,
An occurrence.
well, if we were to cut you open, you know, and look for a tag, an identity tag, would we find anything inside your body that says, I am so and so and I am clumsy? And she said, no, of course not. I said, absolutely not. Like, you are inherently this amazing, boundless, limitless soul who has believed a story that your uncle implanted, which is a lie, that you're somehow not coordinated or clumsy. But it's not a truth. And what might become available for you
Yeah, there you
when
go.
you realize that that lie is something you've been living, but it's not true. And she said, that I'm not clumsy? I said, exactly. But what then becomes available when you start to believe that and you start to see that it is and always has been a lie? And she's got teared up like, oh my God, I could have gone to dance. And I would have loved to dance. But they were things I didn't think were available for me because I believed this lie. I'm speaking now in she didn't say that, but she's like, there were so many things I didn't participate in because I believed that I was clumsy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that identity that blocks you from experiences. And even you don't have to be the world's greatest dancer. You don't have to win a ballroom dance competition. What if you just
No.
like dancing? Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what if you just dropped the judgment of saying I'm bad at it and you
Yes.
just started? Like, I'm sure your first podcast wasn't your best and you got progressively better and now you're an expert, just like anybody who starts, dancing. But yeah,
Exactly.
so it takes a small first step, and then you can build on it and ultimately transcend that and become something completely different because you dissolved the lie, which was what you believe to be your identity.
Okay, so you're someone who helps people with challenges, but March in 2020 became a challenge for virtually every human on the planet. What happened to you in March of 2020?
Well, that's when I think most of this started to become available to me. So I
Oh,
was already working from home, but something called out for me. You mentioned that pull. My soul said or recognized we have two paths. We're either going to sit around the house and we're going to eat and drink ourselves to death,
yeah.
or this is going to be a great opportunity where it's never been more convenient to eat healthy and stop drinking. So I took that opportunity to clean up my diet. I started this Dr. Kellyanne's bone broth cleanse. And
Ooh,
I was like, it could never be easier because I'm not commuting to work. I'm not traveling. Like, I can
I'm
have
home.
set lunch.
Yeah, I'm in
I'm at
control of
home.
everything.
Yeah. So it would never be easier. So I did that. And then through the course of that, I started to get these migraine headaches anytime I had a sip of alcohol.
Wow.
And I truly believe this, that it was my energy guides, or saying, this is not good for you. You've reached a point of diminishing returns, right, in your life. You've had some great times, but they're in the past. And if you really want to become consciously aware, you're going to have to stop drinking. And we love the fact that you've cleaned up your diet. Then I started meditating. Then I started taking on breath work and doing yoga. And like all these things came rushing in
Mm.
as like, they were now available to me, including yoga namaskar, which is the reconstruction of your spine, which is strengthening it so you can stand up taller. And I believe when people say like grow a spine, like that's a big part of it. When you age, I'm 53, and your spine starts to deteriorate, yoga namaskar allows you to build it back up. And you start standing up for yourself. You start saying the things that I'm no longer available for. And I was no longer available for being treated a certain way in corporate world, in my marriage at the time, in different things. And I just started saying like, life's too short. I'm declaring I'm no longer available for these things. And I'm going to figure out what I'm here for. I'm going to look fear in the face. And I'm going to become everything I know that I am.
Amazing. Have you heard of Egoscue? A guy named Peter Egoscue?
I haven't, man. I'm 0 for 2 on these, but
That's
I'm
okay.
learning a lot.
They have now people that have been trained, but it was a guy who was in the military, and he used everything from Pilates to yoga to everything else he could find to try and put your body in alignment, and he was able to solve a lot of lower back pain using these methods, and so it feels a little the same. But the one part I think that's interesting. Well, I'm actually on day 25 right now of no alcohol and better eating, and
Amazing.
it is around those. It's the easiest part is most of us know what to do. Right, but it's a habit. It's like everything, and it's like once you get out of the habit, it's amazing how fast it'll go away. And then when you get back in the habit, there's just a decision point. I always love to say, sometimes change takes forever. Well, the change happens in a moment, but getting to that moment of change can sometimes take forever. What feels like?
I like that one.
Yeah. So,
I like it.
anyways, speaking of forever, well, very cool part of there, and how the pandemic was a gift to you,
1,000%.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also taught me something that we don't talk about enough as a society, how important it is to have agency over your own health.
Yes.
Like I started learning all about Ayurveda
Yes.
and how to treat your body so that it can be at its best when disease tries to incubate and inoculate in your system. Our bodies are designed as these amazing disease killers, but we allow inflammation and other things to open the door, say, hey, disease, come on in.
Yeah.
And I wish we talked about that more as a society, but for myself, I learned right away how important that is. And I just declared health is going to be my number one priority from here on out, because without it, who cares how much money I make?
Absolutely.
Who cares how many days
That's
I
right.
have left? I would rather fully live than to try to live a long time. And if I'm not taking great care of myself, that they both go out the window.
You got to follow a guy. Is Blair LaCourte. He runs this mastermind that I'm in, and he's currently now the vice president of the board at the Buck Institute of Aging, the largest nonprofit studying and researching longevity.
So
You
I
know.
know Blair. I think I
Oh.
mentioned to you, I was in one of those summits with he and Jay Abraham.
Oh yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, Andy. Then I'm producing him now, so you got to get
I
back.
know.
You got to get
You
back
mentioned it.
because yeah.
As a reminder, we talked about Arun Garg and
Oh my God, that's
all of
right,
those guys.
Arun.
Yeah.
Arun
He's
has
great
not been
people.
present at the last couple of, but shout out because I did produce one of his dental masterminds. I like Arun. He's amazing. He's funny.
He's a great guy.
Okay.
He's such a cool story, very similar to this, of how he just came out of, I think he was at Miami University.
Yes.
Like basically working his tail off for the
Yes.
university and getting hardly any credit. And he was
Yep.
like, I can step into my own boundless, limitless capability. And now what he's doing entrepreneur wise is just unbelievable.
And better yet is he's bringing other dentist entrepreneurs in that are even more unbelievable than him. There was a guy, he came in and he buys like half of 300 dental practices, so that he's kind of buying these other people out. And then he's coaching them to grow because he's getting bonus off the other half, right? As they grow. And now the guy doesn't even practice dentistry. He's just, helping and coaching other businesses and having a great life. So, yeah, you got to get back there. That's a great environment to be in. And speaking of environment to get in, this is known as the speed interview portion. So while I've been podcasting with you, I've been writing questions. So this is a part where I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to try and answer it as fast as possible. And I'm going to play a noise if you agree to it.
If I agree to it.
Yeah, so I give an option for everyone. You don't have to do speed interview, but you can. It's a choice.
Okay.
All right. So is that a yes?
Let's do it.
Okay. Speed interview. What have you done that you thought was not possible?
Go out on my own and start my own company.
What's your favorite part of your own life?
The present. Like I would literally say all of it.
A personal transformational moment.
Wow. So many. I was talking to an energy healer and I was asking her, I was like, it just doesn't feel like it's working. Like, am I doing it wrong? And she said, no, this is working. And she could see all the things that were coming together, which just showed me how much like we want to doubt that we're doing the right thing. And she just said, no, it is working. And it just gave me the confidence to keep with the journey, not look at the results. So I know that's not a speed round answer, but that was one of the more profound things that ever came back.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. What is the great work of your life?
Helping to free a billion people's minds so that they can step into inner peace and joyfully create and participate in the most amazing life that is the one that they have. I just want them to wake up to it.
Wow! Share a moment from the Grand Canyon.
Oh, so we're all the way down and we're coming back and we stop at this place called Phantom Ranch, which is a must on your way back. You get a lemonade and a Snickers bar. So I had the lemonade, I had the Snickers bar. It's 100 degrees out. We're getting ready to start the ascend, which is now 6,000 feet up. And we've got a couple hours to get out of there. I go to put on my clothes and I just start shivering like crazy. My body's just shutting down and it's like, we can't go. It's 100 degrees and I'm shivering cold. So I put all my clothes on and I'm bundled up. I start taking 10 steps and I just start gushing sweat, but I'm still shivering. And I just had to like mentally come out of that and go, we're okay. Put one foot in front of the other, enjoy every step. And I had to literally smile, take a step, and then all that went away. And I was able to get out of the Grand Canyon on my own. I thought they were going to have to put me on the back of a mule for a while.
Wow. Best corporate gift
that I've received? A guy who worked for me gave me this, I don't know what you call it, but it's like a goodie bag or it's like your personals thing in your golf bag. It was leather and it's had the CU mascot and then my name and my number 21 when I played there. He got it custom made out of the blue. It blew me away.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorite is I have a leather-bound journal from a Starbucks event, but they were all handmade and hand stamped here in Seattle, and
Wow.
they hold all my paper journals. How does your movie end?
With me smiling and just enjoying the ride and really proud of myself for the patience that I allowed myself to have while I allowed this amazing life to unfold.
And the last thing is, if you could magically get people to remember just one thing from this interview, Sandy, what would it be?
It would be www.sandygolgart.com.
Nobody's answered it that way. 250 interviews. Nobody's answered it that way. But you're right. You're right.
Yeah. And then you can ask me whatever you want.
Sandy, thank you for joining me. I hope I get a chance to see you very, very soon. It's so great that we got a chance to spend a little time, and I hope people look you up. Again, Sandy's link is in this post. Make sure and go visit that, and maybe one day he'll tell you about this Picasso behind him. Sandy, thank you for being a guest here on the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, we've been talking with Sande Golgert, who says it's a present moment, and can you get rid of your negative thinking? Can you have joy in every step along whatever process it is, no matter what the process is like right now? So make sure and check it out. Speaking of check it out. There we go. Speaking of check it out, if you're here with us on social media, make sure and subscribe, share, like, and comment. Put as many comments as you like in there. If you catch us live, make sure and share a comment, and I get to ask our guests like Sande live questions here all the time inside the studio. If you want all the episodes, we have amazing conversations with leaders like Sande from all around the world, people who are engaged with their life. You go to engagingvirtualmeetings.online, just subscribe at one of your 15 beautiful podcast platforms, and take out your camera, take out your phone, turn on the camera, scan this QR code, and you could be the next guest here on the Engaging Retreat. This is a free VIP virtual ticket. It's one of the ways that I want to achieve one of my goals. People, today we've talked about passions and goals and what are we here to do. And my goal is to get rid of boring ass meetings and gatherings in the world so that they're more engaging, so that we connect with each other and we do the things that I think that we're here to do. So my 8th version, the Engaging Retreat, every October, October 20th through 22nd this year. Small limited number of people get to come in person. The rest of you get to be on virtual. And we have the most advanced hybrid studio in the world. And if you want to be like Sande, go to engagingvirtualmeetings.com/meet select interview, and you could be the next guest here on the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast. I will see you next time.
Don't start people and keep whole people. Show you got heart. No replace.